a short list of NAIA games tonight, one top 25 team in action, and also we have Josh Gamblin. He's the head men's basketball coach, Mid-America Christian University. They are the Evangels. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. Let's jump right into this. We're going to start with milestones, as we always do. From the Columbia Cougars, Carson Parker, he notched his 1,000th career point as a Cougar. So he joins that 1,000 career point club. I got stuck a little bit reading the tweet. He won the Socket Player of the Game honors. What is that? Oh, that must be a sponsor. Okay, I see that up in the corner of the tweet. Oh, anyway, he joined the 1,000 point. I guess I could have read that a little closer, but nevertheless, Carson Cooper, 1,000 point club. Coach Matt O'Brien out of Southwestern College, they are the Mound Builders or the Jinx, I guess, take your pick. 200 KCAC, Kansas Conference wins, 200 career conference wins. That's a bundle. He has 373 career wins. He's peeking around the corner at 400. What a great career, and many, many more to come. Congratulations to Matt O'Brien at Southwestern College. Also, National Players of the Week, Latavius Mitchell. You hear me talk about him quite often. Big, strong dude. He rebounded. He's just a rebounding machine. He was the Defensive Player of the Week. And Chase Harris out of Life University, he was the Men's Offensive Player of the Week. Congratulations to those two student athletes and also to those two universities. You hear a lot of talk around NAIA basketball this week about the RPI and the quad and the arc. If you're curious where those are, you can get those. I'll put the link. I thought I had the link on here. Apparently, well, nope, I guess not. You can get the link in the, it's on the Twitter, but it's going to be in the description of this show. And if you use that link, it will come right up to this page. And then it works just like the top 25. The links here become active when they're available, and they give you the dates they'll be available. So there's a RPI release date, there's an ARC ratings date, and then a quads records release date. These are the three factors that go into the ARC ratings, the RPI and the quad records. There's a team from each region that gets together, and then they put out the ARC ratings. So if you're interested in that data, that's where you find it. Look for the link in the description of this podcast. Just a reminder, the new top 25 will be out January. Oh no, yeah, the one just came out January 15th. So we're current until January 29th. Just a reminder. Hey, let's take a quick listen to Josh Gamblin. They had that big win over Langston the other night. The legend is it's very hard to win at MAC-U. It's got to be true. Too many people have told me. I think it's interesting when you listen to Coach, he says, yeah, it's hard for us to win there too. Anyway, let's take a listen to Josh Gamblin. He's the head men's basketball coach at Mid-America Christian. They are the Evangels. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Josh Gamblin, Mid-America Christian Evangels on the phone. How you doing, Coach? Thanks for being on.
I'm well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, the whole world knows now that you had a marquee win last night. I want to talk about that, but I want to talk a little bit about the Evangel as well. But last night, I want to know what you fed those guys in the pregame meal. Save that recipe.
No, yeah, right. I wish they all worked like that, and everything feels better when the ball goes in, and we shot it well from the three, made our free throws, and so everything looks good when the ball goes in. But I thought our kids, played with incredible toughness and really tried to defend, and we took care of the ball. In the first half, I think we had 4 turnovers, and
Mm-hmm.
Chris's groups are just so good defensively that they put you in really, really hard positions. And we just talked about, hey, it may be ugly, it may be late in the clock, but that's better than handing them the ball, and so it might not be pretty, but we just had to take care of the ball. They're so good defensively, but was proud of our kids' effort. Thought they played really tough.
Everybody's going to look at this game and the stat line, the box score this morning, and look at that 88 points and your shooting percentage. But the things that really jumped out at me are the fact that you held them. You scored 88 points on them, but you out-rebounded them significantly by 10, and you were able to you out-rebounded them, and you were able to hold them to 67 points. It's a pretty potent team. It's a hard team to out-rebound. Talk about how you were able to do that. You just controlled the paint last night.
Yeah, again, I think you can almost go back to every game we've ever played at MacU. And if we've won the rebound battle and the turnover battle, we've generally won the game. Now, we didn't win the turnover battle late. We turned it 3 or 4 or 5 times against the pressure. But it's something that if you're going to beat Langston, they cannot crush you on the boards. You have to be in the fight. You have to be in the mix. And Chris's groups are just so tough. I mean, they are tough. I don't think Chris Wright gets nearly enough credit for how good of a basketball coach he is. He's the best of us, in my opinion. His teams are tough. They're disciplined, and they will run through your back for a rebound. And so I thought our kids, they were in there for the fight last night. They tried to hit first. And they still got offensive rebounds. They still made plays. And then, the last 10 minutes of the game, Chris went 5 guards. And so when he went 5 guards, then the rebounding margin swung our way a little bit. So the rebounding numbers could be a little bit misleading, but I did think our kids were in the fight for sure.
I was surprised at, not really surprised, but it was just a game of runs. You would make a run and then they'd come back they never could quite catch you, but they'd make a run and you watch, because I had to watch the box, the score, and I thought,
sure,
Langston's going to overtake them. And then, back up, you're up by 19 again, and then they'd be back within 11 or 13. It just was, it seemed like push after push, and your guys had to repel them. At what point did you feel like, we've got a really high probability of winning this game?
Oh, never. I never feel that way until the buzzer goes, and I think all coaches are the same in that aspect. You're worried about every inch. But, 2.5 weeks ago, or a little bit less than that, we were up 16 at home against OPSU, and lost that game. We got out rebounded. We did not guard with the caliber and the toughness of what we needed to. And that Friday after that Thursday, we had some come to Jesus meetings. I was not coaching our kids hard enough. I had not done a good enough job with them. And I'll tell you, since that moment, they have really dug in on the defensive end. We've had some ugly offensive games since then, but they have decided that we're really going to defend and we're really going to rebound. And so I say that to say, we have been up double digits in every game at home. And if you followed our season, in every game at home, we've had a 3 to 5 minute stretch in the second half where teams have made runs back at us, and have made the games close late in the game. Some of the scores were 5-point game, 4-point games. Well, we were up 13-14 at one point in the second half. And that's a little bit of college basketball, but that's also been a struggle of ours. And so I think against Nelson on Saturday, and of course Langston last night, our kids showed some growth in their ability to sustain a little bit, to play with stamina. And so, we're just trying to continue to grow. Chop wood, carry water. Got to continue to get better.
You mentioned it, but I want to talk a little bit about your team in this season. You haven't been that much in the conversation of the Sooner up to this point. You've actually had just a couple tough spurts in your schedule, early on. You lost to Nelson and who was it, John Brown. And then you mentioned you had those back-to-back losses with OPSU. But you've hammered out, what is it, 4 straight now since that
Right.
OPSU loss. And you feel, it feels like you're on a roll. And I was going to ask you that, but it sounds like that OPSU loss was almost a pivot point. Did you feel that way?
Sometimes I hope it's going to be, I think it's too early to tell, but sometimes the depths of despair can take you to a place that nothing else could, and so we had to look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, we're not doing our job. OPSU came into our gym and out rebounded us, played harder than we did, coached better than I did. And so I hope so. I think we have a ton of basketball character on our team. We have a ton of veteran leadership that cares about the right things, that want to win. And I think you mentioned some of those games. You look back at those early season losses. We have led in every single game in the second half, I think, other than Nelson. And so we haven't been far away. Our league is, I think, really good. There's a ton of parity, and I think the non-conference results really showed that. But yes, I hope that OPSU loss made us better in the long run. But the kids have really competed since then.
Well, you just said it. The sooner the top 5 are within a game and a half of each other, you're only, I mean, you're a game and a half out of first. You're in
Right.
quote unquote 5th place, but you're a game and a half out of first. You're heading into the second half of the. I don't remember how many conference games do you guys play? 24, isn't it?
Yeah, 24 out of 28 are conference games, which is a bear. It's a bear.
So you've got no, what is it, 9 left. You've got
Correct.
a ton
Yep.
of time to make this time up. But Langston, Nelson, Wayland Baptist, John Brown, Texas. I mean, everywhere you go, it's a war. But you only have a game and a
Yep.
half to make up. So what are you telling your guys? What is your strategy here to make up this game and a half and just get tougher and pull this thing out?
Have a great practice today. Have a great practice Wednesday. Have a great shoot around Thursday. Walk through. But the process is so important. The scout is so important. Playing agenda-free basketball on offense is so important. And just possession by possession, doing our job to the best of our ability. And you just believe that gives you the best chance to have the results you want. But the process of it all is more important. And so
That's
I
true.
think that's what our kids have really dialed in on, like, hey, our gap integrity wasn't good enough. Our ball screen coverage, it wasn't good enough. We weren't sharing the ball enough. We weren't making the right plays enough. And if we do that to the best of our ability, we give ourselves a chance to win.
A couple other things I want to ask you about. I want to give you a chance to talk about a couple of guys who really performed well for you last night. Josiah Fulcher, Jawan White, between them 46 points. The other guys performed highly, but just talk about some of the individual performances you got last night.
I'll tell you what, to a man on our team, our kids want to be coached. And Jawan White is really coming on strong, and his practice habits have improved so much. I'm so proud of the way he's practiced these last 2 weeks. He takes accountability. He wants to get better. And it's great when it works out for those kids in the games. And he made some incredibly difficult shots and big plays last night. But, his last 3 stat lines, I think he has 20 points. And then against Nelson, 10 points and 8 assists, 0 turnovers. And last night, of course, 20 and 8 assists. And so, we're all okay with one night it being 15 for him and 8 for him and 7 for him. But Jawan's practice habits have been so impressive, and he continues to get better. He's leading the charge from the point. Josiah Fulcher, I think, is one of the best players in the country. I thought last night he made big play after big play. His ability to get to the paint and score in the paint is really impressive. And him and Terrence Gaines have really led the charge for us defensively from the wing spot. They've really taken pride in, hey, we have to be better. We have to guard people. Whether shots go in or not, we have to get back, get loaded, get situated, and do our job on the defensive end. So Josiah, Jawan have done a great job for us. And then I think Terrence Gaines, his leadership, he's made big shots and big spots for us and is really, really guarded for us here these last couple of weeks.
You're, aren't you? I might remember this wrong, but you're fairly senior heavy, aren't you? You play a lot of seniors, don't you?
We are. we're an older group. We have a really good mix, and I'll kind of go through it a little bit if you're okay with
Yeah, that's
that.
fine.
But,
You do that.
you know, Terrence Gaines and Quentin Woodson have been with me their entire time. One for 5 years, one for 4 years.
Wow.
So they've been through it all. You know, they've played in multiple national tournament games. I think Terrence has played in 3 different national tournaments, 4 if we're able to make it this year. Quentin has been with me for 4 years. Same story. Those guys are winners, really high IQ. Magak Manyang had a great year for us last year and has only gotten better. He's playing really good ball right now on both sides. He's a senior in his second year for us. Keyshawn Mason, our starting center, has done a great job. Didn't get a ton of touches last night, but I've been so proud of his pick and roll coverage. That has gotten better as the season has gone along. But he's a senior transfer from SNU. And then we touched on the 2 other transfers, Jawan, Josiah. And then we bring some guys off the bench. Xander Baker's a freshman from Oklahoma City who redshirted at a Division II SNU here. Marquis Wilkerson is a junior transfer, and Morris Williams, who had a brilliant game last night as well, I thought is a Parrish junior college transfer. So a lot of regional Oklahoma, Texas kids. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of our roster.
You know, I'm fascinated with venues. You know, there's some venues that are tiny and tight and loud that are hard. There's some big, beautiful venues in the NAI. MACU is one of those places, along with Dort and College of Idaho, Oregon Tech, where everybody says it's really, really hard to win there. Well, Charles Belt says it's impossible to win there. He goes an extra step. But, you know, what is it about MACU that gives you such a home advantage?
Probably good players is what I'll tell you first. We've had good players who care about winning. We have great support, you know, from our students, from our administration. Last night, the crowd was great. And so I think those 2 things, you know, I think we have a really special place there at the Galkey. It's not too big. It's not too small, you know, so it fills up. It's loud. And our kids have developed some comfort there. But you know how it is. It's funny. Everybody says how hard it is to win there. I have only ever thought about the losses. You know, I only remember the losses. And so we've taken some losses there too. I know that.
So you're almost in the "it's hard to win there" column.
It's hard to win there. It's hard to win anywhere. College basketball is hard.
I know I overused this line on the show, but I heard it one time. A coach was asked, what was your best win ever? He said, every road game.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, it's hard to win on the road, period. You know, I think there's a couple of really small gyms that I go to, that the old wooden gyms, you know, with the wooden rafters and everything, and they're tight, and they only maybe fit 300-400 people, but those are some of the toughest. The crowd's right on top of you. It gets so loud in there. Those are almost bigger. Like you go to College Idaho, there's like 2,500 fans and they pack it in. But I think the smaller gyms are almost a little bit tougher. Anyway,
Sure.
Venues just fascinate me. Anyway, you should take that. That should be a compliment, because everybody around the country talks about, you know, going to Oklahoma City and playing MACU. It's not considered a fun event.
I'm glad that's the case.
Well, Coach, you got a lot of basketball to play. I'm a guy who I love the conference races. That's the easiest way for me to follow NAI basketball, and that Sooner is going to be really something. I hope you're buckled in and ready to go.
Got to go back to work, right back to it. It's going to be really tough. A lot of great coaches, a lot of great teams, and so every night's a battle, and so ready to get back after it.
Well, I wish you luck as you move forward here. A lot of big games coming up for you. Hopefully get you back on the show as that Sooner gets real hot and comes to a conclusion. But I really appreciate you taking a few minutes this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. And even more so, I really appreciate what you do for our game. Our kids, the coverage that they get. I don't think anybody knows how good the NAI level is until they see it. You guys are doing such a great job showing that coverage. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind to say. I appreciate that. That's Josh Gamblin. He's the head men's basketball coach, Mid-America Christian, the Evangels. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks a lot to Josh Gamblin, as well as to Mid-America Christian University. Enjoyed that talk. got off subject a little bit toward the end, but that's what I do. Anyway, thanks to Josh Gamblin. Tomorrow, join us. We're going to have Ben Limback. He's the head men's basketball coach, Concordia, Nebraska style. They are the Bulldogs, and as you know, they have been hot as a pistol. They recently knocked off Dort and Northwestern, both there in Seward. One top 25 game tonight. Florida Memorial took on Florida College. Florida Memorial beat Florida College 86-74. Florida College has struggled this year. Jesse Repays just had a hard time getting his feet under that team. He had to put it together late, but a good win for Florida Memorial. Taryn Hamilton, 22.7 rebounds, and Latavius Mitchell, the reigning defensive player of the week, 18 points, 11 rebounds. That's a low rebound margin for him, or amount for him. He can really pull them in. Anyway, the Florida Memorial, they go to 14-4, and they will host Southeastern on Saturday. Hey, thanks a lot to everybody. Thanks a lot to Josh Gamblin. Again, join us tomorrow. We'll have all the scores and updates as we always do, but we'll also have Ben Limback, Concordia, Nebraska, the Bulldogs. See you then. That's all I got. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.